Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Uh-oh, we've got a change of pace. We've got Gods and Zyori on the block.
Absolutely. LD's taken off. He's done his dues and paid his time, and
now it's time to switch it over to the tier 2 casters here.
yeah. I don't know. I'm like tier 3.
Tier 3.
That's
tier 2.5.
yeah.
So coming
Borderline.
Yeah. So coming up next, guys, we've got Cleave versus MYM. There will be one more EU game coming up after this one today, but our match has already started because we're actually about 10 minutes behind. I vote we just hop straight into this draft, Gods.
I'll second that vote. We've got ourselves MYM versus Cleave. Cleave is one of those teams who is currently, I think, seeing like one win and 6 or 7 losses. But every time they play really solid. Like even against your top teams, like they've held their own pretty well. They always get kind of out-farmed a bit, but they still really impress me, even though they've only got the one win. But they'll be taking on MYM, and MYM is actually a team who I think has been suddenly, like in the past, like the last couple months, they've kind of just been looked at as one of those teams who's like your trademark tier 2 European team, but they've really stepped it up this last week or two, and they've been competing. They had a great game yesterday against Empire where they were ahead for most of the game, and then they just kind of threw away a bit of a lead. And Empire, I mean, they've just been so good lately, but MYM came so close to beating Empire.
Yeah.
So
and that Empire, they're hot to trot right now. They are 7-0 in this group stage. Right now, MYM are 2-2, and Cleave are sitting 1-5. So you're definitely right. Not ideal. Both these teams kind of lower in the pack, but should be interesting. Cleave have also had a lot of difficult matchups. I think they've already played Alliance, they've already played Na'Vi, and I'm forgetting who some of their other games were, but they've played some difficult opponents. So that 1-5 might be a little bit misleading, maybe not exactly fair to their skill set. Lolek is their big playmaker, though. He's the guy that it seems like a viable strategy is shut down Lolek and, well, profit.
he's like their big pub star equivalent, I guess.
He's like their
But
S4 kind of. He's their mid-hero. He tends to do well in his lane, and then he uses that momentum to set up kills everywhere
I think he's more than S4. S4 is kind of like more like a space creator type, where he doesn't rely on getting a lot of farm. He's always just moving around the map and happy to sort of help make sure that Bulldog and Loader farm with Lolek. He's always going huge. To me, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a good snowball type mid player. Like he's more like Mushi type when Mushi used to play mid, or even like to some extent a Dendi type mid, where it's all about just getting farm, snowballing out of control, and we'll see what he gets his hands on this game around. His hero has not been picked up just yet.
Yeah, he has been playing a lot of Storm Spirit, and obviously MIM will go ahead and third pick the Storm. They've already grabbed themselves Bat Rider and Sand King, so plenty of initiation across the board with those three heroes. A lot of damage as well. They'll go ahead and grab a Morphling straight away. Pretty high burst damage draft here. I think this could be a pretty good E-Blade game for that Morphling.
Yeah, I think they might have played quite a bit of Morphling lately, so it's something they seem quite comfortable with and that they do quite highly rate as a viable pick. And this gives them, pretty much reveals a lot of what they want to do with their lanes, but I mean, you're 4 picks in, so that's going to come without saying more or less. But it looks like it will be a safe lane farming Morphling, Storm Spirit mid, and then the Bat Rider as your offlaner who can also rotate into the jungle, which is where Bat Riders really become popular again, because you can go to that Radiant offlane. You can even go and stack the big camp and then go back to the offlane again if the creeps are at your tower to get a bit of experience, and then just keep stacking that big camp whenever possible over on that far left spot in the Radiant jungle, and just clear it off a bit later on once you get your level 2, level 3, or if you get completely zoned out, you just go clear it off.
Yeah, now Cleave have an interesting draft of their own, and they'll have Enchantress in the jungle, who will be very aggressive in the early game, at least we would hope. And they will go ahead and second pick Abaddon, who works pretty well against Bat Rider. You can cleanse the lasso with a Photic Shield. The issue, though, the range on a Photic Shield is a bit lackluster. So I'm hard-pressed to really call it a counter, but certainly a hero that has some tools to try and deal with the dreaded Bat Rider. And Death Prophet will be their fourth choice.
This to me looks like just trying to go for a scary, like this 5-man Death Ball type army that you can't really fight. And that's something which, like Bat Rider, when he gets a 4-stuff up, can blink and grab someone and then 4-stuff out. But until he gets that 4-stuff, the shield is a good counter. And if you stick his 5 Cleave, they can just push down towers using the DK corrosive attack with the ulti form, the Death Prophet as well. A huge, scary pushing hero, and something which MYM kind of lack is just the ability to stop those 5-man pushes. Like Storm Spirit's not good against 5-man pushes. Morphling needs a lot of farm, and Sand King, if he gets levels, like you get up an Arcane, Blink Dagger, level 2 Epicenter, sure, but this is a support Sand King, so you don't really expect that kind of farm.
And Cleave should come online pretty early with this Death Ball. Right around level 7, level 8 with that mid-hero, they'll hopefully have Dragon Knight with Elder Dragon form on, as well as the Exorcism. And they should be able to do damage to these towers very easily. Now, what I am curious about is how Cleave will choose to lane this. Will it be a Death Prophet mid, or will it be the Dragon Knight mid?
Most likely Death Prophet. I think Dragon Knight is slightly more viable as a safe lane farm. I don't think you want to put the Death Prophet in the safe lane. Not to mention it's going to be a matchup against... Oh, DK does okay against Storm. Like I think a big misconception is that DK as a melee hero doesn't do well against range heroes mid, like Puck and Storm, but he actually does just fine. You have to bottle Crow, but that's...
Pretty standard.
Yeah,
does that.
That's like, well, that's why you pick a Dragon Knight mid, because he's going to bottle Crow. The fact you have to bottle Crow doesn't mean you're losing your lane. And DK actually trades farm for farm with range heroes like Puck and Storm. Like, you maybe 5 minutes of the game, you see him like maybe 5 CS behind them, but that's normal, and that's kind of what you expect from your DK.
Yeah, and when you're crowing like that, of course, Breathe Fire becomes a very useful farming tool. And that Dragon Blood, oh boy, does it make it kind of a moot point to try and harass him down with the bottle crowing as well. That's part of what makes him so annoying, is he's hard to harass out of lane despite being melee. So, MYM will grab Ancient Apparition for their second support with their final pick. I like the way they've set up these graphics, kind of a nice red to orange all the way to the blue. Very nicely done. But a nice last pick, furthering their their magic damage, and there we go. Lone Druid talking about the push gods. This is definitely a pushing lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to be able to bring down not so much towers in the first 10 minutes of the game, but once they get their levels in their first item or two, you need Death Prophet to be level 6. You need Lone Druid doesn't really need items. He just needs to get that level 7 bear with the demolish for towers. But they can bring down towers pretty early with an Enchantress if they want to do that, like creep skipping behind tower and do some kind of an offensive trial lane.
Yeah, very true. They can turn up the heat kind of as early as they want. It sort of depends on how these lanes go as well. They don't really have a great tri-lane. Whoever they choose for that tri-lane, probably the Dragon Knight like we were talking about, but still not really ideal. Tri-lane Abaddon with Enchantress in the jungle is not really what I would consider a scary duo lane with jungle support.
Not a good killing, but it's like if you have a numbers advantage, you can push their tower like by zoning them out. But MYM have their tri-lane bottom, so like, if this is tri-lane versus tri-lane bottom, I think MYM have a slight edge just because the Abaddon, Enchantress, plus who do you even put them with? The Dragon Knight? It's not really a scary tri-lane. Dragon Knight's going mid because that's Lolik, so it looks like we will be seeing a Death Prophet tri-lane. Well, dual lane plus Enchantress jungle.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen this before. Death Prophet can be okay in the tri-lane scenario. One of the drawbacks is she's a mid that really needs experience. Farm is great on her, but she wants to hit 6 pretty much as quickly as possible, and her ultimate gets more powerful with levels as you put more points in Witchcraft. So she's a very experience-dependent hero, certainly before the level 11 mark.
Yep. Well, we'll look at a potential clash coming here in the Radiant jungle. Both teams rotating a lot of heroes. MYM quickly check Roche to make sure no shenanigans going on, and Lone Druid's going to scout out most of what's going on with his MYM team.
And Crit will stand his ground in the front lines. Cleave looking to do a little bit of harassment now. It could be MYM that want to be the aggressors. Could there be a sandwich coming out, perhaps? Mini in the front lines. Hasn't skilled up Burrow Strike quite yet, just posturing. And both sides will kind of retreat to their respective sides of the map. Still 15 seconds before that first rune comes out. See some pings coming down. There is a ward down right here, blocking that medium camp.
Yep.
And they seem to be privy to it, or at least semi-privy. They'll throw down a observer of their own here to get some vision of the bottom rune.
Yeah, we'll see. No dewarding coming out just yet. They expect when Cleave 5-man sweep through their jungle. They know there's a ward somewhere, but you never know whether it's like the magic bush spot, blocking the normal camp, sometime more over to the right side, and just there's many different places you can put those wards, and as a result, it's really kind of hard to get those D-wards off right off the bat. They're going to find it, though, with their first sentry, so that's a good pickup for MYM, something which you often, a lot of this offlane versus safe lane battle comes down to the warding and the Radiant side, and getting a D-ward that fast and easy makes a big difference.
Yep. So let's introduce these rosters here. MYM will be on our Radiant side. We've got Baby Jesus playing on the Morphling, and he'll be joined in this safe lane by Crit on the Ancient Apparition, and Mini will be on the support Sand King. In the mid, that puts Exist on the Storm Spirit, and up top, that is Ace on the off-lane Batrider.
Alrighty, well, our Dire team, it's the Russian team Cleave. We've got Yamaha playing a safe lane farming Death Prophet. Stress going to be playing the Abaddon. We've got Enchantress going for an early smoke gang. That's Roger, and he's going to be looking to drink this Storm Spirit in the mid lane. Playing the mid lane is Lolik for Cleave, and finally in the off lane, the Lone Druid being played by Zako. But this smoke gang, We'll have to see if this works out here. Exist does have his bottle, he's full HP, but with a DK stun, maybe they can get this kill.
Yeah, DK does have stun at level 2, taking some harassment from Exist, but now Roger wraps around, does use the ensnare from the Dark Troll. Lolik is just a little bit too low for comfort here. He will throw the Dragon Tail, forced to retreat. Enchantress will have the damage, and Roger's first gank is a success. His first blood comes out on Exist.
Very close though. Like that, the DK tanked the Remnant, and if he got hit by the Overload charge, he would have died to the first blood. Luckily, the Storm didn't get a chance to get the right click off.
Yeah, very close call indeed. But now Lolik will have a slightly easier time in the mid. He is farming quite well compared to the Storm Spirit 6-2 versus the Storm 8-1. So pretty darn close.
Yeah. And his bottle came out, so he used all his bottle charges. He's already bottle crowing. He doesn't care about the 2-minute rune, because the problem is this early in the game, experience means everything. So even if you can guarantee yourself to get the 2-minute rune, it's not worth leaving the lane and missing experience to do so.
Yeah. That's true. Some heroes in mid, it's almost more of a bane than a boon to try and move around and pick up runes when you really should just be in lane, soaking up farm. Down bottom, thought Mini was going to try and set up a kill onto Zako, but doing a nice job with that Spirit Bear, zoning out the Sand King, and also grabbing last hits in lane. Lone Druid, he's struggling a little bit, 3-1.
Or mid.
Oh.
Well, it could be in some trouble here. There's one slow from a Remnant. They're going to need a few more right clicks, but with the Chilling Touch, they hit too damn hard.
Ooh.
That's just one Remnant slow. Like, you Remnant, you hit him with an Overload to slow him down, and then just Chilling Touch does the rest.
Yeah. It's scary how much damage Ancient Apparition can do in the early stage. One of several things that makes this hero a popular pick right now in our current meta. But, yeah, smart choice to roam out and try and get a little more rotation, or a little bit more pressure onto that mid DK after the first blood came out onto Exist. Yeah. And they don't need another support down bottom. Baby Jesus is handling his own. Holding his own against this Lone Druid very well, with Sand King kind of just poking around to support him. They really don't need the AA in lane.
Yeah, it also got the somewhat lucky Invis rune. Anything else, maybe a haste rune could have worked, but a haste rune you still see him coming and you can back off. Because it's an Invis, Lolik was completely out of position. There is a bit of a dive going on this. Well, they're just trying to push this top tier 1 tower. Batrider almost actually went down there. He's got his bottle up now, so that'll heal him up a bit, but he's not really in fighting condition here.
Yeah, they're just trying to pressure this tower right now. Yamaha throwing kind of just a blind Crypt Swarm, perhaps hoping to get lucky, but will be slightly off the mark. Roger will be trying to gank mid once more. Smoke already used, does have a Centaur in the front line. And it will be revealed a little bit early. Very unfortunate timing. Exist is on the run. He's only level 5, so still no zip. There's the Dragon Tail. War Stomp to follow up. Will be on the mark. Now the question is, will they have enough damage? Breathe Fire still online, and it's more than enough. Lolik adds another one to the scoreboard. 2-1. As Cleave now will rotate to pressure this mid-tier 1 tower. Well, maybe they won't, but still a nice kill.
That was, nice kill indeed. I didn't think DK was going to get in range for the stun. Like, normally when you get revealed like that, the gank is just doomed to fail, because DK doesn't out-movement speed the Storm Spirit, but he was just somehow in range because of the pathing that Storm took, like, kind of turning through the trees, and DK gets a stun off, gets a kill, and looks like we'll see a disconnect, but good start for Cleave, getting 2 kills on the Storm Spirit, slowing him down, not letting him get that level 6 too early in the game. Yeah,
that's the time to gank Storm before he starts zipping around. I mean, even once they hit 6, he still has a reasonably small mana pool, but you really want to try to shut him down before he grabs a lot of momentum, because as we've seen, that's a hero that can do a lot of scary work in the mid game if he can get up a fast Orchid.
Yep. Well, I'm kind of curious as to the safe lane farming Death Prophet, because this is going to be a much slower level 6, but Death Prophet does have Arcane Boots, so I imagine this is going to be like an Arcane Mech type build coming out from Yamaha, which is great for pushing. The Arcane Boots helps out your whole team. The Dragon Knight's a pretty mana-dependent pushing hero because you want to be able to spam the Breathe Fire. So this kind of a build is actually quite nice, and you can do it in the safe lane, because if you're mid going for a rush Arcane Boots, not really the best build, because you have to get your bottle. It just ends up wasting a lot of gold, and you're just so squishy.
Yeah. It's very atypical on Death Prophet, but this is one of these games. To be a pushing lineup, you need at least one set of Arcane Boots, if not 2. And they don't have a lot of ideal Arcane Boot carriers. I suppose Abaddon can get it, but the question is farm. They're going to want to knock down towers before Abaddon will have 1,500 gold to play around with. And DK, like you mentioned, not really ideal for the Arcane Boots, nor the Lone Druid. So that limits their options a little bit. And I think it makes sense in the context of this game as
and
well.
Death Prophet's the mech buy, which eats through another 150 mana. So if you go for like your movement speed, phase boots, whatever it yields build, you don't really have the mana to sustain using mech as well, and that's where Arcane Boots also helps.
Yeah. Now there will be a rotation from Cleave up to the top tier 1 tower. Enchantress will sproink her way into the lane and grab herself a Satyr Tormentor, some nice regeneration aura to go with that Hellbear Smasher, as there is a rotation from Lolik as well. Level 6 Dragon Knight will be using that disgusting dragon corrosive breath on the tower to slowly siege away. MYM looking to make a hold. Batrider not quite 6, so there's not a hell of a lot he can do.
Yeah.
Mini only level 4 as well. This is going to be a difficult repel for MYM.
This tower's going down one way or another. It's just whether or not MYM can engage, maybe get a deny, maybe get a few kills, but this tower is just... You can't defend it. The Cleave just spam down the creep waves. They'll chip away at the tower using the DK range form, and unless MYM decide to engage with a Sand King, the tower's dead, and they're not even going to go for it. Oh, they will. They'll TP and
Sentry
Storm.
comes down. A huge burrow strike as well. Connects with 3. Storm comes in. Now the tower's been taken out. Lolik is the target of choice. Ace will actually be the first to fall. Lolik goes down shortly after, and now it's the Sand King. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Cleave, and they're not done yet. Crit's in big trouble. It's looking like a 3-for-1. Down she goes. Exists now the lone defender. Takes a Crypt Swarm. Won't be enough to bring him down, and Cleave will walk away with a very successful team fight and 1 tower richer.
Engaging into the like an Abaddon type push like this is just a death sentence for MYM. I think that was just a bit of a silly idea to go for that push. The tower was going to go down regardless, whether they defend it or not. They just tried to use the tower as a chance to engage onto Cleave, but Cleave are just too much stronger.
Yeah. It was a nice stun from DK to get things started, but they just simply didn't have enough damage. It might have been a slightly different story if Ace was level 6. Lasso would have come in handy right there, but still, a difficult defend and valuable kill on that Batrider. Now we're at the 6.5 minute mark. He only has 600 gold in savings. He's not really that close to the blink, though. There is a nice triple stack here that he will take out, which will give him a big boost of gold.
Yeah, this is what he needs to do, to spend time in the jungle. You can give the offlane, yep, to the support AA. I like this. This will get AA up towards his level 6, which is going to be pretty essential to deal with these pushes coming from Cleave. You need that AoE Ice Blast coming in. So that's where AA will try hit level 6 as soon as possible, and Batrider will try farm his blink in the jungle.
Yeah, and that is one of the problems with pushing down your safe lane tower first. The opponent's off lane is that, well, now there's that nice safe lane to farm, and AA can get up some experience and in a reasonably safe position. Yep. Though for Cleave, it all fits into their strategy. They'll just rotate mid, Elder Form used on the DK, and Exorcism comes out from Yamaha. An easy tier 1 tower kill in the mid lane. Not even defended by MYM. Instead, yeah, exactly right. They'll rotate down bottom. They want this lone druid, and they'll have more than enough to finish him off. Morphling grabs the last hit, so they find a positive despite losing their tier 1 mid. Mini might be in some trouble here, though. Will use the do, and it's enough to keep him alive.
Ooh, he does get hit by a Dragon Tail as well as a Death Call, though. This is a lot of damage output coming in. GK wants to kind of commit to this one, but doesn't have the mana as well.
Yeah. Batrider coming in handy there, and they will be forced back. Just going to wait for the next... ultimate rotation, I think, before they try and siege this tower. There was a haste rune up on DK as well, so given that, I'm a little bit surprised he didn't actually pursue a little bit deeper. Yeah,
he didn't have mana for a Breathe Fire. It would have taken at least 3 more right clicks, maybe even a 4th, and that was just not really possible against the Sand King, who's a pretty good juker with Sandstorm and Burrow Strike.
Yeah. Very true.
Cleave's 5-man pushes just can't really be stopped right now is the main problem here, which is why I'm also surprised Death Prophet's going for a Bloodstone, which I don't really like just because I think you want to go for that fast mech for these early pushes. We'll have to see who actually gets the mech instead, but right now there's no one really building towards it.
Yeah, Baden is the most logical choice, I think. He did go for the Tranquil Boots first, but I completely agree with you. Bloodstone, not a bad item on DP. It's just that the mech is so important, especially in a pushing lineup.
Yep. Well, we're going to see Critax again entangled at top lane. He may be in a bit of trouble here. The double entangle.
Oh, my.
He got an entangle first hit, and then as soon as the first entangle wore off, like, because the entangle lasts, like, you can't get 2 entangles, like, in a row. It's got the cooldown, but the duration of it's like 3 seconds. And as soon as it wore off, it'd come off cooldown, and it was another first hit entangle. So basically it was 2 first hit entangles in a row.
Well, at least Sand King will find a little bit of vengeance for his fallen comrade. He will use a big epicenter on top of the lone druid. Finds a kill, and now some ports come in. Lolik actually off the mark with the Breathe Fire. Will Mini be able to use the footwork to escape? He will. Look at this elusive Sand King. Well played. He also burns 2 ports up to the top, creates some space in the mid, and Morphling did take out the mid tier 1 tower, so all of a sudden, MYM right back in the thick of it with a staggering lead in experience, and Goldgraph is dead even.
Yeah, that's kind of more what they needed here, and Unicorn's getting really farmed on this Morphling, going for this Midas build, which players like Arteezy love to do, and have to see what he goes for next, if he's going to stop by the Lincolns or just go straight for something like an Ethereal Blade. I like the Midas just because it means when you get the Ethereal Blade, you have lots of levels, because Morphling's very level dependent as far as doing damage with that Ethereal Blade, because the more levels you have, the more just natural agility gain you have, not to mention you have to be at least level 14 for the max adaptive strike.
Very true indeed, and I'm also a fan. I think Morphling does not work well in tri-lanes compared to in a solo safe lane role or a solo mid role. And he was kind of in a duo lane this game, but essentially it was a solo lane.
With the Midas experience, like you become like a solo hero as far as experience gains goes.
Yeah. So I do like this build on Morphling, and he's off to the races. He is #1 on net worth by a decent margin, about 500 up on the leading farmer of Cleave, who is the Death Prophet. So he's in pretty darn good shape. And Batrider, he's made a good recovery. He did grab his blink just about a minute ago at the 9.5-minute mark, give or take, which is great considering he did take a spill early on in the lane.
Yeah. And things are suddenly looking a lot better for MYM. After giving up a few towers, taking that bad fight top lane, they're going to lose one more tier 1 tower, but the items they're picking up are actually quite scary here. You've got Sand King Mini, who's got 1,700 gold, so his blink dagger's coming up soon. Wow. Ace has recovered, got his blink dagger, as you mentioned, and it's just all around like a really good position for MYM to be in, even though they've given up 3 tier 1 towers for free. Like, that's not a big concern for them right now. That's just the Cleave lineup. That if Cleave didn't get this many towers by like 10 minutes in the game,
something would be really wrong.
Yeah. And Cleave's lineup really needs to be about 4 or 5k gold ahead right now, and they're not.
Oh, stress. He'll try and port out. Exist will reveal his invis. He waits till everyone ports out as well. He won't be able to secure the kill, but yeah, well done. We'll stop the Abaddon from getting back with his buddies. And MYM have done okay in terms of pushing as well. They knocked down a tier 1 tower 1-3 here at the 11-minute mark. I think that's almost good. That's good news for MYM to some degree.
An even gold graph right now is great news for MYM. They're slightly behind, but yeah, this dire lineup really needs to be snowballing. 5k gold ahead by now, and then 5 minutes from now they need to have taken all the tier 2s, but they haven't even really got to work yet on the tier 2s. They'll get to it now at top lane. I just feel they're just being a bit slow generally with their movement around the map to push down towers. But they haven't lost by any means. They're slightly ahead. They still can push down towers, which is going to be hard for MYM to defend.
Yeah, and here's this top tier 2 taking heavy damage. No glyph available for MYM, and they'll be forced to let it fall. And Ice Blast connects with all 4 of the members pushing this tower, but Nature's Attendants come out as it expires, and they will finish off the tower. Now, one thing that does make me a little bit nervous for Cleave is although Death Prophet has decent farm, she is very underleveled. Only level 7 right now. Some of the supports have actually surpassed her at this point. And although a Bloodstone is out, Bloodstone's not one of those items that you get it and you think, okay, guys, let's go. You get a big boost once it's complete. Mech, on the other hand, is a completely different story. And I'm still not crazy about it, even though it isn't a 12-minute Bloodstone.
And like you say, they're very under-leveled. Like, if you look at the hero levels, it's all the Radiant team on top, and that's one of the kind of side effects of this 5-man pushing lineup, is that you're always together, so any experience you're getting is being split 5 ways. Meanwhile, MYM, they don't even defend the towers, but they have 3-4 heroes in different lanes farming in the jungle, so they're getting more experience. They're maybe not getting as much gold because towers are worth so much, but the experience is going to kick into play soon, not to mention a very farm Morphling is going to start kicking into play.
Yeah, and even just having a Midas disadvantage means over time they'll sort of slowly pull ahead in experiencing gold, all things equal. And yeah, the gold graph is just not so scary because that'll level out. Inevitably, MYM will knock down these tier 1 towers, and once they do, things will be a little bit more even in terms of gold farm.
Well, Cleave's just going to 5-man till the end of the days, and they've now grouped up at this bottom lane. Lone Druid not there just yet, but he may want to defend this top tower. And we look at Sand King Min, he's got his Blink Dagger, so he can actually look to defend this tier 2 tower with a Blink Epicenter if he really wants to. Batrider's going to try to slow down the push, even before it gets near the tower, just by dropping the Firefly. I kind of like this play.
Yeah.
Just clear out one creep wave, just suddenly makes it a lot harder to push, because that means Cleave have to wait for this next creep wave to get there.
Yeah, just creating some time. Lone Druid now has the Maelstrom complete, so going a build that does synergize with pushing, won't be going for a Radiance Rush or anything like that. But now MYM, they're powerful enough that they can say, you guys want to push the bottom tier 2, we'll pressure your mid tier 2. And one of these cases where the best defense is indeed a good offense as they force Cleave to port back. And it looks like Cleave won't be able to capitalize too much. They'll try and chase someone down. Maybe Crit will get caught by an Entangle, but nope, he'll make it to the high ground. Exist will make it down towards the Roche Pit, and Morphling will move into the jungle and port out. Well done by MYM.
Cleave have no initiation is the other, like a lineup like this. Like DK stuns initiation, but he doesn't have any way to actually get in. If you go Shadowblade, you get that boost in movement speed to catch up to the AA, but like when you TP in, who are you actually going on? And we're going to see a zip in. They're going to bring down Roger, maybe Exist? Nope, the heal gets popped by Roger. It's a max heal as well. There's no way he's getting this kill.
Yep, and there's a pause coming out. Exist lagging.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't think
boy.
it was getting that kill regardless.
Yeah, that was a bit too bold. And Enchantress is not an easy hero to focus down in a solo environment, especially if she can get off the Nature's Intendants. If Exist had an Orchid, now that would have been a different story. But given that he has just Power Treads and a point booster, hard-pressed to believe he was going to be able
And just
to
that
secure
1 point in Untouchable means that you can't really get your combo off with like the chaining the overload hits, because the way you want to do it is you Remnant, you right-click once to get overload damage, you pull right-click to get overload damage, then you Remnant, then you hit him again with an overload. But because of the Untouchable slowing your attack speed, you can't actually do that combo on an Enchantress.
Yeah. And Storm going for an interesting build here. It appears he won't be going Orchid first, at least, unless that's just a casual point booster, and he's going to transition now. Is he going Bloodstone first as well?
It looks like it, yeah.
Interesting.
We'll see A ulti go flying mid, but I think this tower may just straight up go down. There's not really much M1 can do except the blink Epicenter.
And it will do a fair bit of damage. Procs the borrowed time from Stress. Lolik in some trouble as well. Still has Elder Dragon form available. Will go ahead and burn it before he falls. Goes ahead and gets the Aphotic Shield as well. So yeah,
a lot of ultis, no deaths.
Look at the Aphotic Shield on the Elder Dragon. It's just on his tail.
Unfortunately, the A ulti went like before the engagement, because the DK got really low, but by then the A ulti had worn off.
Yeah.
And they really needed the A ulti just a couple seconds later, or they needed that engagement a couple seconds earlier. And Cleave just push high ground.
Yeah, and especially knowing that the Epicenter is down now, they should feel reasonably safe. It was a noble effort from the Sand King, but he just isn't powerful enough right now to solo down the team with one Epicenter. He needs the follow-up from all of that team AoE damage, so maybe a bit too rash.
Yep. I like AA, just staying as far away as possible to get bigger Ice Blast AoE. Like, just sitting near that top lane, not even really coming in right now.
Yeah. Storm just zipping around.
It's got the regen room being annoying,
Yeah.
Cleave will have to back off for now, but I think they want to back off because I don't think they want to try to go high ground until they get the DK BKB. They want to get an Aegis as well. Like, Roshan's free for them, more or less. I don't think there's... Like, if they push out the lane so MYM have to defend, they can probably take Roshan uncontested. MYM think they're Roshing now, and they're going to smoke their way there, but they're not actually in the pit just yet.
Yeah. Will be a fail or a wasted smoke for now as Cleave walk by the pit. Enchantress makes Roshan pretty easy as well. As being Dire, they don't have a medallion up, so they don't have any minus armor to really easily take down Rosh, but still plenty of damage. They could do it if the opportunity strikes them.
And Cleave still don't have a mech. That's... Like, if you want to be pushing... Like, going for a 5-man push strat without a mech just seems like an odd thing to me. They've got lots of healers aside from that. Like, DP, you heal yourself with your ulti Abaddon, as well as Enchantress with heals, but just mech is such a cheap, cost-effective item.
Yeah, and it's not only about the heal, it's also the armor aura, which really helps in pushing, and putting the... being able to heal up your creeps.
Yes.
There's more to it than just being able to heal the heroes.
Your creep wave gets spammed, like, to half HP. You want to actually mech your creep wave so you can go high ground and not have it get destroyed, because your creeps need to be able to tank towers.
Yeah, so there are other benefits to mech as well. Not that they're really hurting for armor right now. It still does come in handy. It looks like Abaddon will be the one working towards it. Does have the headdress complete, but at this point, it's still worth getting, but mech is one of those items. The earlier you get it, the more useful it is. It does a static amount of healing, so the earlier on, the higher percentage. Just
Blink Epicenter. I don't know about this from Mini. This is just a level 1 Epicenter. They're doing no damage whatsoever.
Yeah,
that was ambitious.
In, but,
I think he was just trying to stall, but that Epicenter was never going to kill anyone. Cleave are just too tanky.
MYM did take out the tier 2 in the mid lane, and now they're pressuring the tier 3. So Cleave are forced to commit to this tower or back up. Looks like they'll kind of do both. They will finish off the tier 2. Now they're looking to make some sort of a hold at the base. They'll do some damage to the replicate, but it will make it away. Now Exist poking forward with a haste rune. They won't secure that kill. So same strategy for MYM. Good offense does translate to a decent defense here, as that tier 3 took a fair bit of damage.
Yeah, and Cleave, well, it's pretty much dead even here. This is the thing, like they've got this unstoppable kind of 5-man push, but you don't have to stop it. You just have to push the other lanes, and that's what MYM are doing, forcing Cleave to continually have to come back, defend, and unable to really do a high ground. So Cleave need to find a way to push out all these lanes, which is where I kind of would have almost preferred the Lone Druid to go for a Radiance, just because you can send that Spirit Bear to a lane, have it push out a lane, and then bring it back to you. The Maelstrom build that he went for maybe just isn't quite as useful in a lot of ways. Not to mention, it's not a great pushing item. If you want to go like pushing Lone Druid, you almost just need like lots of Gloves of Haste or a lot of attack speed.
We'll hold that thought for just a moment. Here is Exist engages onto Yamaha, but Abaddon will be inbound, has the Aphotic Shield, and will keep him safe.
This is like a just poke around kind of thing. Like Cleave cannot do anything to this Storm unless there's DK there for a stun. They haven't got the lockdown.
Yeah.
Silence doesn't really matter because he can still walk. It's not actually disabling him.
Yeah. So anyway, I think Maelstrom is pretty good for pushing though. It clears creep waves pretty effectively. Attack speed.
You've got the DK and the Death Prophet to clear creep waves. Like that's your creep wave dead. Let's go high ground. Like
yeah,
it gives a bit of attack speed. It's the main benefit of the Maelstrom, but you can just get that from a 500 Gloves of Haste, or even a like. I'm surprised he didn't go Midas because Midas gives you great. You can progress towards the mid to late game as far as farm goes, and the attack speed's really valuable on your Spirit Bear.
I mean, the attack speed is good, no doubt, but I was always under the impression that in a game such as this, you would grab a Maelstrom, just clear out creeps faster. Like I always looked at Maelstrom as a solid pushing item. Is that a... Am I off my rocker here, gods?
This game, yes, just because like you're pushing, they're always pushing as 5. Like you don't need the Maelstrom proc, like because DK plus Death Prophet, it's instantly dead creep wave. One Breathe Fire plus Carrion Swarm, creep wave's dead, and Lone Druid, what's his bear? Like his bear Maelstrom's just pointless at that point.
Well, it's still useful if they want to split push, if they want to do a 4+1 type strategy.
That's where Lone Druid, though, if he's alone, he's getting ganked and killed, and we haven't actually seen them go for that 4, and they're going to go for Roshan now, though, which is a good idea and something they do very well need.
Yamaha will get caught, though, as he tries to walk his way over to the Roshan pit. He'll get lassoed, plenty of follow-up, and Baby Jesus will grab that kill, but space created. I think it will be enough for the rest of Cleave to finish off Roshan.
Yeah, this... pretty fast respawn. There's going to be a Storm Zip in here. He zips in a bit too early, though, and now he's actually low on mana. They know he's up there, though. What can they actually do? They have to just pick up this Aegis ASAP. They need to make sure they don't give a chance to actually seal. You can see them just sitting on top there. Can they get a stomp? The Aegis snatches it!
Oh, no. Nice. It gets procced right away, but still beautifully done. Dire does get the last hit. Sand King gets picked off kind of around the backside here. Exist will come back up from the Aegis snatch. Hops to the high ground, grabs his Perseverance, and now it's all about the escape.
He's got not just his Perseverance, he's got his Bloodstone in 20 gold as well, so he's probably just going to sit around that secret shop for a bit longer even.
Well done, though. That was a nice snatch right there.
There was 2, like, Cleave heroes directly, like, hovering on top of Roshan. Oh, now they get the courier.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
This MYM team's just being so annoying right now. I think Cleave are just saying, screw you guys, we're just going 5-man mid and going to get your Raxes.
Uh-oh, Ace, he'll be able to force staff, but blinks into the danger zone right there. Meanwhile, up top, Baby Jesus pressuring the top tier 2 very hard. He does have his Ethereal Blade up as well. Now, this tier 3 in the mid taking heavy pressure. Exorcism out. No Glyph is up for MYM. This will be a very hard defense. Rax will fall right here. MYM not in a position to defend. They will come around the backside, or at least Storm will, trying to draw them out. And will Cleave fall for the bait? They've lost their creep wave, so now they can't pressure the Rax the same way they'd like. Exorcism on for another 5 seconds or so. In comes Mini with just a stun. No Epicenter available right now, though he does have Boots of Travel up. The Sand King's farm this game is very impressive. I love what Exist is trying to do to pull the wave away from the base, and his efforts will be successful. The Rax will actually stand.
Yep. The Death Prophet ulti wore off, and until they've got the DP ulti, the Exorcism back online, they can't really go to the high ground well enough. And Exist wants to try and engage.
He'll get initiated on. Mini hops in as well. AA ult flies. Now Ace, he'll blink forward, looking for a lasso. He does have it off cooldown, but off the mark, doesn't connect with anything, throws a flame break, doesn't really do too much either. And now MYM, they will be successful in their plight to repel the push.
Yeah, killing off the Spirit Bear as well. So Zako has a resummon in 5 seconds, but they'll want to wait till they have 2 Spirit Bears, Exorcism back up as well before they go for another push. This DP is just tanking up more and more. Like, we're looking at the Heart of Taras, but Yamaha's problem isn't that he's squishy, it's that they just don't have enough pushing power. Like, this could... The mech would have been nice to have already, but he's going to actually get lassoed here, so he hold that thought. He dropped on top of this cliff here, and he's in all sorts of trouble. Where's the Enchantress? Enchantress has the 4 stuff. They need the Enchantress to force the Death Prophet off this cliff, but...
AA ult as well.
Oh,
is it going to be enough, though?
Going to be close here. This Firefly's wearing off soon. He's going to suicide. I think he may have lived there, to be honest.
Yeah, that was...
The Firefly wore off. He was actually fine.
Yeah, I don't know about that suicide right there, but... interesting. Abaddon not going for mech. That headdress was the beginnings of a pipe. He now has the Hood of Defiance, so something else that we were
at this point, Pipe's
on.
better than mech, because the Morphling shotgun burst damage, the Storm, the Sand King Epicenter, definitely Pipe is better than mech at this point.
Yeah, I certainly agree on that front. BKB up on the DK as well, still very high in duration, still at the 9-second mark, and that Heart of Tarask close for DP as well, has the Reaver and the Vitality Booster just waiting for enough to grab the old recipe there.
Yeah. I just feel like Cleave have not gone for like the best as far as item choice. Like, even looking at Death Prophet with the Heart, I was trying to say this earlier, his problem isn't staying alive. Like, they need more damage output. Like, Exorcism is there, but even a Necro 3 would have been a great way to break the high ground here. Yeah. Even if it's just 1 Necro 3 and a Death Prophet, like, that's actually good HP as well. You get plus 16 strength, I think it is, from the level 3 Necro book, and that makes you really, I mean, a bit tankier, but the actual Necrobook wall like that you can't engage into makes it a lot easier to push and makes you a lot more survivable.
Yeah, if you're going to draft a lineup that's all about pushing and you know you're going to get out late gamed by a Midas Morphling, you have to build your items accordingly. And Mech, Necrobook, and Pipe are 3 items that are almost essential to that strategy being successful. And so far, they've only gone for one of the 3, which of course is that Pipe. Mini will be in some trouble up top. He was trying to be cheeky with that Sandstorm, but he'll be able to fog long enough to get that blink cooldown and ports back to safety.
I mean, he's played a good game. He's just been so annoying with these pushes. Like, his epicenters generally aren't looking for, like, big 5-man team wipes. They've just been, like, the one at the tier 2 bottom tower while the rest of his team was pushing the high ground at the tier 3 mid. Just trying to create space for his team, and he's done a great job of just distracting Cleave. Generally 2-3 heroes.
Yeah, now Basher is up on the Spirit Bear, but an even bigger item has been picked up, and that's on the Ancient Apparition. That's an Ag Scepter here at the 25-minute mark. He's only level 9, so it's still a level 1 Ice Blast, but that's a huge item pick. And now this Ancient Apparition ult will actually be something that Cleave need to be wary of when they try and push.
You drop that AA ultimate, you have a Morphling come in with a shotgun, anyone dies, because normally you can stay alive because you've got Abaddon there to heal them up as well as shield them off when they get shotgunned by the Morph, but with an AA Ice Blast, it's a guaranteed kill.
Yeah. Now, Ace does have an invisibility rune on, also with a Gem of True Sight sitting in the inventory. So perhaps looking to get a bit cheeky here. Exist. He'll just take a Mist Coil in the mid lane. But he'll be okay for now. Lolik looking for a Dragon Tail, won't find it. Meanwhile, around the backside, Ace comes in. He'll connect with Roger again, pulling him to the high ground. But will Flame break him down. Oh, pardon me, Force Staffs him down. Yeah, thought that was a Jimmy play right there.
Put him back on the low ground, cut him around a bit, and go from there.
All for the fun of it. Just got to get inside of his head, man.
Yeah. Morphling.
Oh, the Courier gets picked again.
That's twice in a row.
Yeah. Wow. Very unfortunate.
This Morphling's getting just so fat. He's got a Manta style now.
Yep. E-Blade into Manta. This is part of the problem with this pushing strat from Cleave as well. There's been a lot of times where they've been forced to trade tower for tower, and that's been huge for MYM. That's part of the reason Ancient Apparition has such an early Ags up, is because they've taken out quite a few towers of their own. Mini, with an Epicenter, comes in, actually doesn't do very much damage, only does it onto the Abaddon, and, well, he will have borrowed time available. Enchantress in the back is getting played around with that Bat Rider. But actually, Ace is the one that's in some trouble.
Needs one more Impetus, not going to find it. Meanwhile, the Burrow Strike coming in, catches out 2. Cleave just gets destroyed there. The Storm zips in as well. That's the Dragon Knight dead. And with 2 heroes dead, Cleave, this is all over. No Burrow time for the Abaddon. He's going to take the fall next, perhaps. But it's Mini with another 2-hero Burrow Strike. This guy's just been on point with these stuns, these engagements, and he's still somehow alive. Triple kill goes the way of the Morphling, and Cleave have been repelled from the Radiant base.
Yeah, now Zako in a little bit of trouble. We see Mini trying to position himself so that he can get off a Burrow Strike when he has the mana for it, and he'll be able to hop forward and, well, won't use the Burrow Strike, but still they grab a kill on the Lone Druid. A lot of low health heroes on MYM, but they all survive, they repel, and now Cleave are in big, big trouble.
That was a bad MYM engagement as well, and to think if they'd gotten like a clean initiation there, because they went in with an Epicenter Burrow Strike on just the Abaddon, and that's the hero's borrowed time, and now they're going to pick off the Abaddon here. He's got the, actually maybe not, he's got the borrowed time, that'll keep him alive, and TP's coming in from Cleave, but yeah, that engagement at the Radiant base, it would have been harder for it to go worse for MYM. Like, when your initiation, your ulti, your Epicenter, as well as the A Ice Blast, only catch out the Abaddon, that's a terrible engagement, because this guy just pops borrowed time, heal himself up.
Yep. Now, one of the scarier statistics of this game is the Morphling's KDA. He is 5-0-1 with nearly 200 last hits here at the 28-minute mark. He is beyond farmed at this point. He is 5,000 up on the Death Prophet in terms of net worth, the leading farmer by far. And it's just going to get worse. About a 10,000 gold lead and almost a 20,000 experience lead for MYM right now. Cleave getting close to that Hail Mary time. We see another 4-man push up the mid. They want to break this base. They know the glyph is down. This could be their golden opportunity to get racks, but they need to be careful. Epicenter coming up in 2 seconds here. Exist. He zips forward. Pipe comes out to try and buy him some time. Ace on the Bat Rider actually taking a lot of damage. Will be repelled. Doesn't have the lasso up quite yet. Epicenter from Mini doing a fair bit of damage, but it just isn't enough. Secures the kill onto Death Prophet. There's one. Maybe they can grab a few more. Lolik, he'll be second to fall. Now Stress goes down. I scratched that. It's more than enough. A 3-0. And now Zako coming in. He was late to the party, and he may get punished for it. They'll have the interrupt with the Adaptive Strike, and he will fall. Another 4-0. A triple kill for young baby Jesus here.
Yeah. Oh, man. This Unicorn Morphling is just beastly right now. He's up to 3.6k gold. His net worth, 18,000 when everyone else is like only around that 10k mark. He is just absolutely out of control.
He's a monster.
Once the Death Prophet's dead, there's no damage output, and once the once the Exorcism is worn off, there's no damage output, and this is where your Lone Druid isn't really offering much DPS. Your DK's just got a BKB, he's a bit tanky, and your two supports are both kind of just defensive supports right now with the Force Staff and Pipe on them.
Yeah.
No real damage output as well.
And to go back to that Bloodstone first on Death Prophet, it's also not that great because part of the power of Bloodstone is getting up those charges. It works well on a hero like Storm where you're constantly trying to gank, trying to pick up hero kills. Cleave aren't really that interested in fighting. They'll fight if they have to, but what they're after are structures.
He's got one charge.
Yeah, down to one charge. That's really reduces the utility of this item.
I don't know if I've seen a one-charge Bloodstone in competitive play before.
It's just, yeah, and meanwhile Storm, he's up to 13 charges, so there's a pretty big disparity there. Another one of the reasons you just Bloodstone first is
the Heart and the Bloodstone basically do the same thing. Both of them are just really tanky items that give you a ton of HP. He should have just gone for one of the two items at most. You don't want to go for both of these when he's essentially the carry for this team. He played it in the safe lane. He's the only one getting good farm, so he's the carry. He needs to be able to do more with his item choices.
Yeah, and there comes a point with effective HP where just massing raw hit points is not the way to tank up the most. Only 5 armor. There isn't a huge amount of right click on MYM, but now that Morphling is starting to hit hard, aside from all of that E-Blade shotgun burst, a little bit of armor goes a long way in upping your effective hit points. So, again, not crazy about this build. Crit will get initiated on, though. They Force Staff forward the Dragonite. He connects with the Dragon Tail, and they'll find a free kill on the Ancient Apparition, but some space was created in the mid lane. Glyph comes out as they do pressure that tier 3 quite hard. So again, well done by MYM to find some positives despite losing their Ancient Apparition.
Yeah, for Cleave, they just need to try find that opening where they can just 5-man, get a Rax. Even if they get these mid-Raxes, though, it's still far from one, and MYM can just be... They could be down 2 Raxes, even 4 Raxes, and I would still give this lineup of theirs probably an advantage in the late game. Yeah.
Well, certainly, based on how farmed this Morphling is, he's a machine. He is going to go Scotty next. Does have that first ultimate orb sitting in the inventory, and actually not too far off the mark, finishing up that huge item. Cleave will go straight up the mid. MYM have the Bat Rider up top. He does have Boots of Travel actually on cooldown for another 20 seconds, so this could be a pretty big window of opportunity for Cleave right now to try and finish off these racks, but I believe there's an Epicenter off cooldown. Yes, indeed there is. So this will be a little bit difficult. This window is kind of expired now, as Bat Rider's port will be up in 5.
Yep. Hey, Ice Blast is going to be on cooldown now as he throws it towards the mid lane. Mini, once again, just being as annoying as possible.
He's had a lot of close calls with those cheeky plays, but a very experienced Sand King player, obviously. He knows his limitations quite well, as he's been continually doing those kind of plays throughout this game.
Well, they sniped the Spirit Bear, so that means the next fight there's only going to be one of them for the next couple minutes, and I think MYM can almost just push down mid lane. Morphling says, screw that, let's just push bottom.
Yeah, and Yamaha will port back as well, but he needs to be a little careful. I think Morphling could take him in a blow-for-blow battle.
He need like an AoE ice. He can't actually get the kill because of just the HP of the Death Prophet, but yeah, he can definitely take him on.
Yeah, and support was inbound, so Morphling will just back out, but still, again, the threat is there. MYM have done such a great job this game posturing and making Cleave feel that they can't be too aggressive, and that's exactly what he did right there.
Yeah, so for MYM, they're the ones on the aggression right now, and it's looking like a Cleave. Their time has maybe come fairly soon. They don't really have any way of winning this late game apart from maybe getting a lucky team fight and just 5-man down mid lane. But it looks like Zako's going to get caught out. AoE Ice Blast used as well, and well, easy pickings.
Dead Druid right there, and even if he buys back, no bear available for another 60 seconds, so that is a huge pick, a great hero to grab before this fight truly breaks out. And now MYM can probably make a siege towards the base.
Yeah, I think they haven't got a good high ground pushing lineup, but they're just out farming.
Veil of Discord is up on the Sand King now, as well as a Shiva's Guard on the Storm Spirit, who has also just hit level 16. Boots of Travel coming out all over the place. 3 on the side of MYM. Only the Ancient Apparition and Storm Spirit are lacking the BOTs, and Death Prophet will go ahead and grab the first set on the Dire.
Well, I think Cleave are running out of options here. Like, they're going to be just constantly getting split pushed from 2-3 lanes, and the only thing their lamp can do is 5-man push, but you never get a chance to do that if you're constantly defending from all 3 lanes, and they can't actually initiate on anyone. They don't have your Clockwork, your Storm Spirit, because this is just a Sand King solely pushing top, but how do you actually stop him doing this? You've got no way to actually kill and engage him. It's where DK needs to be picking up a Shadow Blade right now. That's what I think is honestly the best item choice, just because it's the only way they can ever stop the split pushes by having an engager, which is going to be DK with a Shadow Blade. There's nothing else they can do. Like, maybe you go Blink Dagger instead as something a bit clowny, but I think a Blink Dagger on DK would be viable here, just because they need a way to actually engage on MYM.
Yeah. And Sand King, he's a deceptively good pusher. You don't look at that hero and think, oh yeah, he's great at split pushing, but between Caustic Finale and his Sandstorm ability, he can be pretty elusive and hard to lock down, and also he can clear creep waves very effectively. So again, I just love the way they're utilizing Mini and his brilliant Sand King. Exist will take a silence as he dives the base, and he could find himself in a little bit of trouble as well. He will zip actually towards
He's just being annoying.
Well.
Like, there's no lockdown. What do you do if you're Cleave? This just shows how useless they look at him. He's just trolling them.
Yeah, this is just straight cheekiness right here.
You know, I say he's trolling them, but this is actually, like, viable strategy.
Look how much time he's wasting right now. He's got 3 heroes just chasing him in their own base.
They need to ignore him. They can't actually kill him. There's no point chasing him around. Like, this is actually a strategic move. DK will catch him. There's your Blink Dagger, DK! Exist will get stunned, but it's not long enough lockdown.
Wow.
Honestly, the Blink Dagger is a viable item choice here. This had to be picked up, either a Blink or a Shadow Blade, but even with the Blink, they still haven't got the damage output to kill him, as seen there.
Wow. That's pretty telling of the momentum in this game, I think, God.
It's really one of those things. A lot of the viewers are probably looking at this like, oh, Storm's just kind of joking around, trolling them, and he's actually doing this strategically in their base. Like, because Cleave have to send 3 or 4 heroes chasing him around, but I mean, I don't think they should. I think they should just ignore him, but
yeah,
it's quite clever to be doing what he is.
Well, Bat Rider will go ahead and lasso onto the Abaddon, but never an ideal lasso target, and also there's just no follow-up damage, so just letting Abaddon know that he's nearby, and he will just walk back to safety still at full health. Oh boy.
Cleave just they're done right now. There's no way back into this game for them. It's a 20k gold lead for MYM. It's only getting worse, and there's at no point in the next at any point in this game do I see Cleave being able to push out of their own base.
Yeah.
Just because they can't deal with the split push.
They can delay this game a bit longer if they want. They have a pretty good turtle lineup. They can clear creeps effectively. Exorcism is still hard to push into. And like I said, MYM don't really have a great high ground team. So this game could go on a while longer if Cleave want to try and drag it out. Maybe hope for MYM to make a big overcommitment. But now Scotty is up on the Morph lane, and he still has enough gold for buyback. Also the BOTs. They just have nothing to deal with him and Storm together. Both of them are just balling out of control at this point.
Well, it's going to be maybe a Roshan coming out from MYM. Cleave scattered out with the Spirit Bear, but...
Oh, they hop forward. They do throw a stun onto Exist, but the follow-up isn't there. And actually,
dead? Veil plus AA Ice... Oh, that's your Storm Zip in. Easy.
Wow. But yeah, actually they will burn the Exorcism here. So this is just good for MYM. Now Yamaha, he'll be the target of choice as Baby Jesus joins the battle. Now Mini hopping forward as well. Burrow Strike on the mark. They won't have enough for a kill quite yet, but they'll go ahead and finish off the Spirit Bear, and they'll be satisfied with that, at least for now. They really don't want to fight into that Exorcism. It's just about to expire. And now, MYM, they'll have another successful team fight. An Enchantress and a Bear, but they lost none of their own.
Yeah, and I think maybe soon MYM will start poking around towards the high ground here. It mostly just comes down to Morphling getting 6 slotted, or getting that last couple big item or two. And... well,
yeah.
Unicorn's got, he's got 3k gold. He can drop his Aquila or Midas and then be ready to go high ground again.
So what does Morphling do at this point? What are you looking for in itemization after a Manta, E-Blade, and Scotty?
Butterfly, Satanic, doesn't really anything.
It doesn't matter.
This game isn't going to be decided by Morphling's last item choice. Yeah. I mean, if you want to look at, you can look towards efficiency, like what's going to give him the best killing potential, what's going to give him the best pushing, and I imagine Butterflies probably gives him like some of the most agility, so that's always going to be a good item.
Yep, and oh, here we go. Initiation onto Enchantress. She'll get destroyed before she can even react. Yamaha did throw a silence, but yeah, not enough to keep the Dryad alive.
Morphling could even go like Dagon 5, like Ethereal, and that would be turning your shotgun into a fucking rocket launcher.
That's a good analogy. I would actually kind of like to see that. With the E-Blade, it's a lot more legit. It sounds really clowny, but the burst is real.
Yeah.
The struggle is real as well.
Because right now he can't solo kill heroes like Death Prophet. There's just too much HP there, but with a Dagon 5 and an AoE Ice Blast, with the AA Ice Blast, maybe you can.
Yeah.
TP's still tanky with a cloak, but yeah.
Mini is so fat. He's got BOTs, Blink Dagger, Veil of Discord, and an Ag Scepter, also level 18. That is one of the scariest Sand Kings I've seen in competitive in a long time.
Yeah, he's almost been like the MVP of this game as far as just creating space for the team. Like he stalled so many of these pushes, and his split pushing has just been fantastic. So Like, I think strategically he's been the most important MYM member. I don't think you can really say MVP because you look at people like the Morphling Unicorn who's just played flawlessly as well, so...
Yeah. And
that was a full HP Enchantress.
I caught the very tail end of
Yeah.
it, but boy did she die quick. He is actually still the one with the perfect score. 9-0-2, now 330 CS. Whew. Baby Jesus. Unicorn. Oh, down bottom. Mini will go ahead and throw his ultimate onto a solo Yamaha. Not the ideal target. He is just a little bit too tanky.
Yeah.
Will do a considerable amount of damage, but just not enough. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Baby Jesus, he'll take a silence. BKB on, and now he's just going to right-click away. A lot of damage coming out on Cleave. Death Prophet falls. Dragon Knight shortly after. In comes Ace. He'll go ahead and lasso the lone Druid. Stress didn't even have the Aphotic Shield available, and I think Cleave will get wiped up here. Lolik does buy back. This will be a 6-0, maybe even more as well. Some buybacks coming out from the Abaddon, and Enchantress will
Morphling
respawn.
replicate TP, so he doesn't even use his Aegis. I thought he was just going to use his Aegis, respawn, but he's going to replicate back in as soon as he's healed up.
And here we go. Lolik stepping too far out of the base. Mini using that Sandstorm. Abaddon falls as well. Double diebacks coming out of Cleave.
Oh
Roger
God.
just juiced
that
by the
Like
shotgun.
a 9-0, 8-0? I don't know what we're looking at there.
Yeah, something like that. 8. I lost track. 8 or 9.
Yeah.
It depends if you want to count the Enchantress dying to start that one off. But
Yeah.
wow, very convincing win for MYM. 25-8 after 45 minutes.
It was convincing, like, once we get towards the end there, but like it was still a bit dicey in the first 20-30 minutes of the game when Cleave was taking tower after tower. And
Yes.
if they had just been able to get all those outer tier 2 towers, like maybe 2-3 minutes earlier, I think they would have gotten Raxes. But the thing is, even if they got those mid Raxes with one of their pushes, I think the game still pans out how it did. I don't think getting just mid Raxes was going to be enough. They need to get a couple sets of Raxes to make it possible.
Yeah, so it was an interesting game, a fairly transparent strategy from Cleave. You knew what they were going to do coming in. They were going to push. What do you need to do? Repel the push, and there's just kind of that timeline where they start to fall off from doing the 5-man death ball, and your carry can kind of take over. So pretty straightforward. Still think the itemization for Cleave would have made a little bit of a difference. A mech, maybe not Bloodstone first.
I think there's definitely 100% those they should have been able to get mid Raxes. Whether that would have won them games, another story. But like going for mech, going for a Necrobox could have helped them out a lot more. But end of the day, I think MYM were just a bit more experienced and dealt with the push strat too well.
Exactly right, my friend. So we've got one more EU match coming up today, folks, and that will be Sigma versus Insane, scheduled to start in just about 10 minutes or so, though it looks like the Dota network has gone down, so we may be starting a little bit late. We'll keep you guys informed with all of our struggles here with the network and the upcoming schedule, but we'll move into a break, and we'll be back, guys. Thank you for joining us here for Starladder. Don't go anywhere. Dota resumes after this.